This isn't personal, Marvin. It's just business. That was the last thing Lyle Hastings, our newly appointed CFO, said before shutting down the Knowledge Systems division, my team, my pride, and my life's work. I'd spent 16 years at Hargrave Technologies building that department from scratch. Our data system powered nearly everything from client onboarding to internal training. We weren't glamorous like the AI division or flashy like R&D, but we were essential until Lyle took a red pen to the budget sheet. It all happened in a 10-minute meeting. No warning, no transition plan, just cuts. We were given 2 weeks to hand off what we could, delete what we must, and disappear quietly with a modest severance package. I was stunned, but more than that, I was furious. When Hargrave started, I was one of the first hires. Back then, we worked out of a 2-story building near the river. My system, Cora, Knowledge Organization Retrieval Access, was an internal powerhouse. It started as a simple employee onboarding tool, but evolved into a company-wide knowledge platform used by thousands. And here comes Lyle, fresh from a Wall Street firm, cutting us down to optimize overhead. I remember walking out that day in the rain holding the cardboard box they gave me, notebooks, USBs, memories. It felt like being gutted. But what Lyle didn't know, what no one knew, was this. Cora wasn't theirs. Not entirely. 6 years ago, when I rebuilt Cora's backend, I rewrote the core engine using a modular framework I developed on my own time. I logged the code under a separate intellectual property license tied to me, not Hargrave. Legally bulletproof, reviewed, filed, tucked away in my secure server. They had used my version of Cora without reading the fine print, and now they were still using it, even after I walked out. That night, I sat in my apartment staring at my old monitor, cold coffee in hand, and thought, if they think I'm gone, they're wrong. I built the brain of this company, and I never gave them the keys. 3 weeks later, Hargrave released a massive software update. Internal teams were raving about it online. Cleaner dashboards, faster performance, better search. What they didn't know was that the update triggered an audit beacon embedded in Cora's brain. Not malware, not spyware, just a tracker that alerted me anytime unauthorized commercial usage occurred. And oh boy, did it light up. They had stripped my name from the documentation, deleted my developer tag from the GitHub commit history, even rebranded the system as Hargrave Core. But every heartbeat of that system still pulsed through my framework. So I got to work. I called my lawyer, Aditi Verma, a brilliant IP attorney, who once saved a startup from being steamrolled by a multinational. I sent her everything: code logs, license papers, timestamps, and the most important document of all, the original module license, which clearly stated that any commercial use of Cora's engine without royalty agreement would be considered breach of IP. Aditi's response came within hours. They're screwed. Let's draft a cease and desist. But I wasn't ready to pull the trigger just yet. Instead, I asked her to send a quiet inquiry to Hargrave's legal team. No accusations, just a formal note asking if they were aware that Cora's core engine was built on a licensed framework owned independently by me. The panic was immediate. First, a call from Ronnie, the old CTO I used to work with, now demoted and mostly ignored under Lyle's rule. Then an email from Lyle himself, offering to catch up. He had the audacity to write, "Let's talk this through. We're sure there's a misunderstanding here." I didn't reply. Instead, I sent a royalty invoice, $7.2 million, calculated at 4% of system-wide revenue generated since they began, using the unauthorized version of Cora. They tried to bury it, delay it, threaten me. But Aditi knew the system inside out, and more importantly, so did I. While they scrambled to patch their new software, I publicly filed a claim with the software licensing tribunal. And quietly, I submitted a detailed technical audit of Hargrave's entire infrastructure to their largest client, North Base Defense, a government contractor who legally required all systems to comply with IP and security regulations. Within 48 hours, North Base froze their partnership pending a review. Within 72, I got a call from the CEO of Hargrave himself. "Marvin," he said, voice brittle and breathless. "Let's come to an agreement, please." Suddenly, I was important again. Funny how that works. We arranged a face-to-face at a private firm in downtown San Francisco. Across the long glass table sat Lyle, eyes bloodshot, fingers twitching against his silver watch. The CEO sat beside him, stiff as stone. Aditi spoke first. "The terms are simple," she said, sliding the contract across the table. "Full acknowledgement of IP ownership, retroactive royalties for usage, and ongoing licensing fees at 3.5%. Lyle leaned forward. "You think you can hold us hostage with code?" I met his eyes. "No, I already am." He didn't know this. But the longer they delayed the deal, the more risk they exposed to North Base and to shareholders. Stock was already slipping from the leaked tribunal documents. My legal move had become a PR nightmare. After 3 hours, they folded. I walked out with a check for $2 million upfront, a contract that paid me royalties for 5 years, and a clause that reinstated me publicly as the original architect of the system. I didn't return to Hargrave. Instead, I launched Hargrave Technologies, a streamlined version of Cora for mid-size firms with high compliance needs. Within 6 months, we landed 5 major clients, including one Lyle had been courting. For months, I even hired 2 of my old teammates back. They'd been scattered after the layoffs. Now they were building again, with me. Every quarter, Hargrave wires a royalty payment to my account, and every time I see it, I smile. Not because I won, because they tried to erase me and now they pay me to remember.